Good day, ma'am. So, I'm really sorry for the background noise because it's currently raining. So, yeah. So, my report is all about phonetics versus phonology versus pronunciation versus articulation. So, phonetics is a study of speech sounds, a branch of linguistics that focuses on the production and classification of the world's speech sounds. Is a branch of linguistics that studies how humans produce, perceive sounds, or in the case of sign language, the equivalent aspect of signs. So, phonetics is how or it deals more with the study of the sounds without the knowledge of the language spoken, and also it studies production, transmission, and reception of sounds. So before we proceed to the three types of phonetics, let me introduce you the phoneticians first. So phonetician is called to those linguists who specialize in studying phonetics, the physical properties of speech. So three types of phonetics. The first one is the articulatory phonetics. This means how you produce or how sounds are produced in the vocal tract. So it is focuses on how we produce or how sounds are produced in our from our vocal tract or in the vocal tract. And the second one is acoustic phonetics. So that would be how they are transmitted through the air. So acoustic phonetics focuses on the transmission, on how the receiver transmit or yeah, on how the receiver transmit the sounds through the air. And the third one is auditory phonetics. So auditory phonetics is how does it perceived by the listener. So from the word itself, auditory, audio, so it means how or it means how the receiver or the listener receive the sound. So yeah. So proceed to phonology. Study of sound system of a language, the branch of linguistics that deals with system of sounds including or excluding phonetics within a language or between different languages. Study of the way speech sounds are structured and how these are combined to create the meaning words and phrases and sentences. So for phonology, it is more about the patterns of the sounds and the rules that are unconsciously internalized by the speaker of the language. And also it studies different patterns of sounds and in different languages. So yeah. Phonetics is more on speech sounds or study of the sounds. However, phonology is more on the patterns of the sounds. Um, yeah, that's it. The patterns of the sound. I have here a chart that will best describe phonetics and phonology. So I have here first, let me introduce to you the phonemes. Phonemes are smallest meaning distinguishing sound unit in the abstract representation of the sound in language. So, and next is allophone. Allophone are phonetics units that are closely related to each other, one several similar phones that belong to the same phoneme family. So that is the meaning is understandable. So let me provide you an example so that we can further understand these the meaning of these two. So here I have a chart. I don't know if you can clearly see it, but in this chart, we have the phoneme T. For example, our phoneme here is T. So in phoneme T, we have allophones, which is TH. There is a sound for T. There is a sound TH, T itself, R, and then the silent T. For example, I have here words that can best describe these scenarios or these allophones and phonemes. So in the phoneme T, I have the word tap. So in the word tap, our allophones here is TH. And in the phoneme T, we also have the second word stop. And as in the word stop, we have the allophone T, T itself. And the third word is lil, lil. So in the word lil, our allophone here is the sound R, lil, lil. And in the word kitten or kitten, kitten, in American English it will read or it is pronounced as kitten. So it is silent T. So the allophone in the word kitten is the silent T or the question mark. Moving forward, I have here the two aspects of phonology. So, segmental phonology, it analyzes speech into discrete segments such as phonemes and the studies of phonological rules that govern the way sounds function in a language. So, in segmental, it is the smallest unit of speech distinguishing one word or element from another. For example, in P. For example, as the element P in top, which separates from the word tab, tag, and ten. So they have the same. You can distinguish or you can make um or think of another word that has like similar um structures, which is from the words that I've provided, which is tap, tab, tag, and tan. Those words are being distinguished because of the word tap, something like that. You can think of another word because of that one word. So, also segmental phonology individual is an individual sounds of a language, vowels and consonant. So, let's proceed to suprasegmental phonology. It analyzes features which extend over the segments such as loudness, pitch, length, stress, and tonation. And intonation. So, suprasegmental, it is the musical aspects of pronunciation, such as those loudness, pitch, length, intonation, and stress. So we have here suprasegmental's features. So first one is the loudness. Loudness are closely related to the intensity of sounds that describes the efficiency of the ear in the perception of the sound. So the intensity. So loudness is all about the intensity of the sounds. So I have here the example, which is Manchester United. The loudness here or the intensity of sound in this word is in the word man and na. For example, it is read. For example, for this is I will read it to you so that you can get or you can further understand. So for example is Manchester, Manchester, United, United, something like that. And the another one or the second one is pitch. So pitch is rising and lowering the voice on a particular work or the tone of the sounds. So pitch is all about rising and lowering the tone of voice in a particular work. So for I have here for example, um, can you open the window? Can you open the window? So the pitch or the rising sound there is in the end word, which is window. So the second or the third features is the length. Length or quantity is a characteristics of sounds that has a longer duration than other sounds. So it is understandable that this is a quantity correct or a characteristics of sounds that has longer duration than other sounds. So I have here first example is vocal length. So in the word seat with an is I mean ea, you will be pronounce it or the duration of this sound is longer than the other word which is seat. So in the word seat, sit with an ea, you will be we will be reading that as seat, seat. And while the sit is sit, sit. So do you guys see the difference with the I mean in regards with the length of those two words? They have the same meaning, however they have different duration in terms of pronouncing it. So the second length here is the syllable length. So we have here two words again that has the same meaning, but the receiver might misunderstand the um, the meaning of the other word. Or yeah, for example in the word yes. So if someone asks you like, can we go on can we go out on a date, something like that, and you say and your response is yes. So it sounds like you're not interested with that person, or there's a lacking of emotions there in your answer, which is yes. As versus the word yes with a longer duration, which is yes, yes, something like that. So in the yes with longer duration, it provides an extreme emotion. So the receiver might think that you're excited to go on a date with him or with her. So yeah, that's it. So let's go on or moving forward to intonation. So is actually the pitch pattern is a sentence. So in an intonation, it is actually the same as speech, because we have here two kinds of intonation, which is the rising intonation and the falling intonation. So it is more likely the same pattern as speech. So I have here two examples so that we can further elaborate or understand intonation. So I have here two examples for one example for falling intonation and rising intonation. So first is the falling intonation. So in the falling intonation, the intensity of the word father is in FA. And in the rising intonation, the loudness or the intensity of the sound is in the word THR in the father. So for example, I say, this is my father. I say, this is my father. Alright. and the loudness there is in FA. While in the rising intonation, it is this my father? Is this my father? So the right, I mean the loudness there, excuse me. So the loudness there is in the word THR. I mean, in the word father, the loudness there is in the THER. So moving forward to stress. Stress is the rhythm of a language and a pronunciation. Stress can refer to to words, part of words, or even one word in a group of words that receives the most emphasis. So I have here the basic patterns of stress and syllable. So I have here um, the the first pattern here is monosyllabic. So the monosyllabic here is in the good and the book. There is only one syllable, one stress because it has only one syllable, which is good and book. Good book. And the bisyllabic. So in the bisyllabic, we have here open, convince. So it is bisyllabics because I will not further discuss why it is called bisyllabic, because I understand or I know you already know how to determine syllables. So we have two syllables in convince, so that is why it is called bisyllabic. So the third one is multisyllabic. So in the multisyllabic, you will identify in one word there is a multiple stress that was provided, or that was with it, or there were three stress or kind of stress that is indicated in the word, in a word. So for example, in a word animal. So I have here a guide which is stress and stress and stress for animal. So in the a stress, and then the rest is on stress. It will read as animal, animal, animal. Alright, got it. So I have second example here which is unstressed, stressed, and unstressed. So in the word disgraceful, this is unstressed, grace is stress, full is unstressed. For example, disgraceful, disgraceful. Alright, you see the difference. So let's proceed to pronunciation. So in pronunciation, it is defined as how you say a word properly. How you say a word properly. So all words that you aren't familiar in pronunciation, all words that you aren't familiar with should be looked up before performing. So before we pronounce a word, especially those unfamiliar words, usually we Google it in order for us to know how to pronounce it properly or say it properly. However, in the articulation, it is all about clearly pronouncing words. And poor articulation can result of carelessness or sluggish speech. So, for example, I don't know what's gonna happen. So instead of saying that word, you articulate the slang words in their formal shape, which is I don't know what is going to happen. So, in other words, we should not speak in a style that makes us sound too hi-fi, especially if we're talking to professional or to a formal setting. So that is for the pronunciation and articulation. So for pronunciation, you just say it properly, but for articulation, you need to say it clearly. That is the difference between them. And the last one is the place of articulation. So the place of articulation, I have here the first one, which is labial sounds or lips. This is from a Latin word labium, which means lip. A sound requiring the participation of one or both lips is a labial sounds, or simply a labial. All labials are consonant. So for labial or bilabial sounds, we have some example here, which is P or B. So you see, when you are pronouncing or saying the letter P or the letter B, your two lips met. Right, you're right. So that is why it is called labial or bilabial sounds. The second one is labiodental sounds. That is um, using the lips, teeth, and the tongue. So a labiodental sound. This is a sound that requires the involvement of the teeth and lips, which involves the upper teeth and lower lip. So I have here the for example is letter V. V. So it is in the word letter V, it involves the upper teeth and the lower lip. So that is why it calls labiodental sounds. And the third one is interdental sounds. So it is involves teeth and the tip of the tongue. So in the interdental sounds, this is when the tongue protrudes between the front teeth when producing S or Z, resulting in TH sound. The S becomes the voiceless TH, S as in think, and the Z becomes the voiceless TH as in those. Interdental lip sync, also be known as frontal lip sync. This is a normal developmental phase that some children go through. So that is it. So the example of interdental sounds is the S and the Z. Alveolars, I have here another one, which is alveolar sounds. It includes or it involves alveolar ridge tongue, tip, front, or blade. So there are 6 alveolar sounds and those 6 alveolar sounds are N, na, ta, d, s, z, l, l. Ano. So examples of alveolar sounds in words are the sound as in disc and pad. La sound as in love and pull. Na sounds as in no and can. Sa sounds as in sweet and does. So that's it. I have here the other one, which is palatal sounds, roof of the mouth and tongue, tip and front. So in the palatal sounds, it produced with the front of the tongue near against the hard palate as the Y in English young, produced with the blade of the tongue near the hard palate as the CH in the English chin. So I have here the 2 examples, which is Y, young, Y, young, and CH, chin, chin. So roof of the mouth and tongue. So ngala-ngala tsaka dila. Oh sorry. I was supposedly speaking in English, but sorry, yeah. So that's it. It is already understandable. So velar sounds, vilium and the back of the tongue. So for velar sounds, is a sound made with the back of the tongue making contact with the back of the roof of the mouth, which is the palate. Sounds that are velar sounds include the k and g. Examples of velar assimilation errors are saying kak, tak, gak, duck. So, alright, so those are the examples for velar sounds. And the last one is glottal sounds. It involves glottis. So glottal sounds are the sounds production that involves moving the vocal folds close together is called glottal. English has a voiceless glottal transmission spelled h or h. This sound is produced by keeping the vocal folds spread somewhat, resulting in a non-turbulent airflow through the glottis. So open siya. So spread. Vocal folds are spread somewhat. So open siya. So let's proceed to vowels. Consonant. So consonant is a speech sounds that is produced with a restriction in a vocal tract. And vowels is a speech sound that is formed without constraint in the vocal tract. So consonants, it has a restrictions in the vocal tract, since those consonants, you are more on closing the vocal tract or restricting in the vocal tract, sound produced with a restriction in the vocal tract, such as p or b, d, k, something like that. And in the vowels, it is the speech sounds constrained in the vocal tract. So we have five vowels here, which is a, e, o, o. So we have so that is the end of my report or my presentation. And these are the references where I get those topics or the meanings of those topics. And thank you for listening. I hope it helps you understand the differentiation of those phonetics, phonology, pronunciation, and articulation. And that's it. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye for now.